Have you guys made a decision yet?
I don't even know who this guy is. He just looked so comfortable. I wanted to try it out.
The Mattress Gallery at Crandall's Home Furnishings. The brands you're looking for at the price you want. In memory foam, pillow top, and more. Crandall's Home Furnishings. Always home to the ultimate value.
Mark, we had a couple of our county teams battling off this past week when McLean and Ohio County squared off. We got highlights of this game. This game, of course, comes in, you got teams coming in who just really need something positive to happen for them. McLean came in winless. Ohio came in with just one win. Winds up being Ohio over McLean, 49-14. Don't really think the margin was that big of a surprise. McLean just almost ran out of players. I mean, it really almost came to that.
Oh, there's no doubt. I did a story on him going into Football Friday last week, and he acted like from one day to the next, depending on who might have gotten hurt in the game before or whatever, that, he wasn't sure how many people he'd have out for practice. They were practicing with 15 people sometimes, and they never really broke the 30 threshold, I don't think, totally until, they got their feet under them a little bit more later in the season. But, I think it's kind of a tribute to David McCammon that he was able to keep them out there and keep them playing.
I think so, too. I don't think anybody that played McLean County would ever say they just quit. And, boy, you certainly know they had the opportunity to quit, because that is a tough season when you're going into every game as a multi-touchdown. I mean, sometimes many multi-touchdown underdog. That is a true tribute to the coaching staff, the players, perseverance. I mean, these kids didn't do much in the win column.
Right.
But I think you take lessons from this that serves you well down the road, and I think that's what we'll see out of this bunch.
Yeah, and and I hope that they get some numbers back next year and in the following year. It sounds to me like that they have a shot maybe to get themselves back together in a couple of years from now. But yeah, I mean, this crew, they had to be dedicated to it, or they wouldn't have kept coming out there. So I think that is a great thing for a bunch of high school kids to be able to at least take that away from it.
While McLean County remains winless, they do have one more game. They do qualify for the playoffs by being in a 14 district. They will go to Russellville this Friday. Let's talk a little bit about Ohio County. Ohio County got the win here they needed. They were really hoping this was going to be the 2-win streak, because they feel like they let one get away against Barron County last week. Still nice to get the win. Cody Murphy, again, big game, sets the all-time school rushing record during this game. It's just become the Cody Murphy show to a large degree. I don't think that's going to be enough, though, to carry them in the playoffs when they go to Warren Central this Friday.
No, I have a feeling Warren Central will probably stuff the box against them. They're going to have a lot of speed on the field, and they're going to make Ohio County do whatever else they need to do to try to move the ball and get points. But, I mean, Cody Murphy, again, I think we've talked about this somewhat. A player, he has to be very, very good to be able to have kept performing and, kept getting yardage and kept doing the job when the rest of the team's kind of faltering around him somewhat.
Right. And much like we talked about McLean County, Ohio County, another team that I felt brought everything they had every week, just was in a tough situation. But regardless of everything else, it'd been so long since Ohio had won coming into this year.
Exactly.
At least they got a couple wins.
Yeah.
At least they qualified for the playoffs. So there's no question they took positive strides this year. And Cody Murphy's only a junior. So they have him coming back to continue to build around.
Yeah.
I can see Ohio making another pretty big step next year.
Yeah, they could do that, because I'm guessing you'll get more interest in, retention of players and maybe getting some new guys coming out and that kind of thing. And for them to break the losing streak was huge. I mean, they had to do that from a mental aspect, if nothing else.
Let's talk about Breckinridge County going into Muhlenberg County. Winds up being 43-7. Muhlenberg, like DC, this was the end of the season for Muhlenberg. They end up 3-7. What's your take on this Muhlenberg team? Because they made the playoffs last year. They returned several key skilled people. I really thought they were going to take another step forward, and it just never felt like they were doing that this year. What was your take on that?
With what they had coming back, I thought they had a pretty deep talent pool, to tell you the truth. And I mean, they had some good defensive players also, not just on the offensive side. And things certainly never did click for them, I don't think. I think they had some problems at quarterback off and on, and I'm not sure what else maybe, but there was a lot of execution issues, I believe, on both sides of the ball for them.
Last game from this past weekend was Hancock County going to Edmonson County. This was actually a Thursday night game.
Right.
Hancock just rolls over Edmonson, and this is not a bad Edmonson team. They've been ranked at times this year, but Hancock just rolls over them 41-14. Dylan Hubbard has over 100 yards. The Hornets have lost Eric Doyle. He's gone for the year with a knee injury. They just keep running over people. We know what the MO is now for Hancock County. Is that going to be enough to serve them well going to Caldwell County this Friday?
I think they're going to have to execute somewhat throwing the ball to again, Caldwell's going to try to force them out of what they want to do. They're going to try to fill the box up. And Rapp has the capability to keep a team honest. So I would look for them to, they need to get the ball down the field somewhat. I'm not talking about, touchdown strikes every time, but if you can stretch the field a little bit, that's going to help you out.
Hancock should be able to stretch the field because I've watched Matt Rapp many times. Matt Rapp has a really good arm. He just struggles with accuracy at times. And if he can get that down, I mean, they have the potential to really do some damage through the air. But that said, Hancock's only going to go as far as that running game carries.
Sure.
And Dylan Hubbard has become a really fine running back this year. And, I like the Hornets' chances going to Caldwell County.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Hancock won this game at all. I mean, they are in a very competitive district. They hung in with Catholic for quite a while. I think Fort Campbell kind of handled them a little bit, but that was coming off the Catholic game. And I think there were some issues, as far as getting them back up emotionally after the Catholic game that probably ultimately hurt them against Fort Campbell.
Right. What was your biggest surprise this year? What stood out to you? Good or bad?
Good or bad. I would say I was a little disappointed in OHS overall. I thought they might be able to pull another win or two out there somewhere, but the lack of a running game has kind of wounded them all season, and it turned into whatever Cal Prince could do was how they were going to, be able to survive or whatever. Right. I looked for a little bit more out of them. I looked for a little bit more out of Apollo. Now, on the good side, I think Catholic far exceeded what anybody really thought they could do, especially coming out of the last 2 years.
Right.
I think they had a mix of good talent and kids who got tired of being mediocre.
Yeah.
I think those are the two bottom lines.
Yeah. Catholic exceeded my expectations, though I thought Catholic was going to be very good. I remember at the start of the year, I told Jim I thought Catholic potentially could be our best team.
Right.
I really was that big on them. My disappointment, my surprise for the year, I thought we would be better overall. I'm stunned that we only wound up having 3 teams with winning records.
Right.
Catholic 9-1, Hancock 7-3, Owensboro 6-4. Never dreamed DC and Apollo were going to struggle to the degree they did.
No.
Didn't think Muhlenberg would struggle. Now, I did think McLean was going to have a rough year. And Ohio probably did about what I expected.
Right.
But there were 3 teams there that I just thought we were going to be much better. But that's how it goes.
Sure.
I mean, that's how it goes. We hope next year, we come back and we have all 10-0 teams.
Yeah.
Because it's much more fun for us when we're winning.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
Than when our teams are losing. But, everybody gives it their best effort.
Yeah.
And that's all you can do every time. Well, we got some interesting postseason games to talk about coming up at 2 o'clock Thursday on the show. And, I really believe we've got a couple teams that can make some real noise in the postseason.
No, I don't think there's any doubt that Catholic could make a run all the way to the championship game.
Yeah. Well, I hope that happens.
Yeah.
Well, until 2 o'clock Thursday, we wish you the best. Thank you.